Hi guys, how you doing? Senior Gaming here and I'm bringing you Immortal Rising with my current build. So if you're Immortal Rising player or perhaps idle gamer, then make sure you subscribe to the channel as I post as often as possible and bring you best tips and advice. And if you enjoy what you see, then hit that like button as well. Well then guys, so as I have now finished a first chapter, I want to share the build I have sort of come up with. Bear in mind this is a very offensive build. There is a recommendation for a top players to go on a more defensive stance, but I believe in the early stages of the game it's important to grind as much equipment as possible, and obviously later on, once you've got your equipment on a pretty decent level, you'll be able to shift into more defensive stance, which will then allow you to farm on a higher stages. So just very quickly if I tap onto menu itself and a change stage and a chapter selection, I have managed to go through this build and finish comfortably a fallen area. Now just pretty much baby steps into Crescent Valley and only then into a broken island. So if I tap on it again, as you see, I'm literally just started on a normal stage. This is still a very effective, and obviously in a later stages you will be changing into more defensive build. So I'm gonna go through everything that is related to that full offense, and as you see, I'm comfortably going through all the normal monsters as well as elites, and this way obviously I'm grinding tons and tons of equipment. So I wouldn't sort of go through necessarily every single aspect of the game as such, because some of them you'll be just upgrading by default to get stronger. We're gonna focus on all these offensive options. So the first one, obviously when it comes to a upgrade itself, you'll be going with your strongest equipment at the time. As you see, I'm sort of running here with Darkness, Will of Archmage as well as Sealed Core. Bear in mind, in the early stages, you'll be just equipping the strongest gear at the time. So the more stars you're gonna add, and obviously more levels to equipment, you will be using that as a strongest point. So do not take this as a granted definition or where you're going with this build. This is basically what I have strongest at the time. Obviously when it comes to a stats, I would fully go here with attack, advanced attack. I'm currently going with a blow chance as well as blow damage. This will then allow me to finally progress to a triple S build. But again, when it comes to upgrade itself, you should go more attack rather than HP, etc. When it comes to traits, the traits you want to max out by default gonna be attack increase, boss damage, skill damage, attack speed, as well as critical chance, and then obviously everything else will be going into attack. So you're purely skipping here HP, gold find experience, as well as HP increase. With the mastery, obviously nothing out of ordinary here. You'll be leveling anything you are using. The only advice I've got, if you got a chance of having a similar levels when it comes to a different weapon, if let's say I'm gonna get a 3-star sword now, I would definitely jump on it, as this way I'm gonna obviously increase additional attack and easier to get this extra percentage up and running. When it comes to awaken ability, in here you are going purely attack, full stop. You don't want any other option. This way you are going to absolutely next level when it comes to a damage output. And now moving into a symbol itself, obviously the symbol, as a title suggests as well, is a Tempest. Tempest allows us to increase a basic attack as well as attack speed, and there will be a lot of perks associated with this high attack speed. Then when it comes to supported symbol, we go in here with Hermes as well as Fenrir, and actually supported symbol will be displayed here at all times in that summary section. And then as you go in to select any of these support symbols, obviously there are certain areas that you need to hit in order to get a bonus. So when it comes to a Hermes itself, actually we're gonna increase a basic attack every single time we got our attack speed over 400%. The easiest way to see if you actually fulfilling this criteria is to select one of these symbols, and then basically converted stats will actually display if you're participating in this very aspect of the game. So as you see, with actual increased damage itself, we got additional stats in here. And when it comes to a Hermes, which is based on an attack speed, because there is so many buffs running in the background, these stats are constantly changing, but you can clearly see that there is a certain percentage associated with increasing this very aspect. Okay, so that's pretty much when it comes to upgrade itself. Then when it comes to inventory, what I told you earlier on, you'll be going for a strongest equipment at the time. As you see, a triple sort of star. I'm currently gearing on a darkness itself, but the moment, as mentioned, if I'll get a sword or I get a bow, I will be switching obviously to boost masteries, and at the same time obviously leveling up as much as you can to increase the overall damage output. Then when it comes to a skills itself, when it comes to active skills, I've got two skills related to a influence of damage output, so it's gonna be enrage itself. So in here we again increase in attack speed, as well as a cleanse, which should be basically, and the name suggests, we're gonna remove all harmful effects, but also increasing attack here, which is a great booster. And then I run here with a Frost Nova, which is gonna pretty much cause a damage to all enemies, but also it has this critical bind associated with this very skill. And then whilst having actually bind, either enemies are binded or frozen, I will deal more damage with a Blizzard, which is just another AoE attack. So I definitely recommend going with these additional skills, boosting your damage as well as AoE attacks, and this way you're gonna be actually absolute beast when it comes to grinding these monsters. When it comes to a passive skills, we go in here with Hermes, we go in here with Exploit Weak, Detect Weakness, as well as Battle Stance. So pretty much we go in here full offensive, right? And then we move in on to a Charms itself. So as it stands, I got 2 double S and 2 triple S charms. Bear in mind, I will be still probably experimenting and looking for these perfect charms, but as it stands, you are going with everything a fully offensive. So you'll be looking for a stats as critical damage. Obviously attack speed is a foundation of this build. Attack, critical chance, anything related to a normal attack. In here we've got accuracy and a skill damage. You know, it's not ideal, but it's a good offensive skills. In here we actually got a Frost Nova, which is a great and associated with the skill I'm currently using, and the penetration is going to be one of the foundation in the later stages as well. So as you see, these charms are far from perfect. Ideally you want obviously these stars rising on it, which means you've got actually a topped equipped option. But as it stands, I'm really happy with the charms I've got, and as you see, you just go in pretty much or anything offensive to boost the overall build. And now finally, the last one I want to cover is going to be a pets itself. Obviously you want to land your triple S pets as soon as possible. The quickest way to do it is to do not upgrade the lower tier pets, but just keep summoning and upgrading them all. The pet you want to actually be associated with is going to be a Cassiopeia, due to a penetration, which is an absolute must-have, especially in the later stages. And if you do not have the actually Lilith, is a second one recommended, and also recommended for a boss fight. I do not own this pet as of yet, as this gives you actually this a final critical damage and absolute a attack increase buff also when it comes to that skill itself. So therefore, as mentioned earlier, keep summoning and upgrading pets, and obviously the more triple S pets you've got, the more perks associated with. Alright then guys, so that will be it when it comes to all the aspects related where you will actually influence on how to select these a full offensive aspects of the game, and this way with no problem, as mentioned earlier, you'll be able to complete a very first chapter of Fallen Area, or perhaps I will continue grind as much as I can on this full offensive build, and then perhaps start making my transition into more defensive stance. So that will be it guys, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.